overclockers, and welcome. Oh, screw this. Where's EPIC when you need him?
Good morning, everybody.
Where are we?
We're there.
Hi.
Hello. It's me, Rita Steve. I'm joined by Cody, and today we're going to be doing the Phoenix Show wrap-up for EPIC36. So we're going to talk a little bit about the weekend's esports events. We've got a few highlight videos as well that we want to show you guys, stuff that we've worked over the weekend. But yeah, it's been a bit of an explosive weekend for some teams at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll jump into Valorant in a few minutes, but I think it's probably best we start off with our first grand finalists. Our first grand final winner yesterday, I should say.
Definitely, yeah. So there's no hiding that me and Steve are no aficionados when it comes down to StarCraft 2. But of course, we know there is a dedicated fan base, and I was thankful enough to be able to do the stage hosting for last event when we were downstairs. And yeah, everyone's absolutely fantastic, and it seemed like the same level was there for this event as well.
Yeah.
I think it was a slightly smaller turnout this time round. It looks like only 16 players
Yeah,
instead of the 20.
Drop out last minute and changes and stuff.
This is the thing, right? Obviously, you get to the event and it's like, well, do I want to play or do I want to chill with my friends? Like, it is what it is at the end of the day, but still a decent turnout. And yeah, groups seem to be pretty damning, to be honest with you. Figaro absolutely destroyed in Group A. He went 7-0. And then we had Roscoe in Group B going 7-0 as well, closely followed by both Raza and Zane inside of Group A and Group B as well, both 6-1. Yeah, then we kind of split to the top 8, and this is where things start getting a little bit spicy. Obviously, Raza, for anyone who knows anything about StarCraft, will know that he's one of the few Terran players. I asked him why last time, and his simple response was, no one else can play him because obviously it's super hard and everyone else is bad, and I'm good. And that was met with groans and grumbles from the audience. It's quite funny. But yeah, there was some quite close games, at least from a scoreline perspective. Vigoro, who had a pretty decent run, obviously going 7-0, actually almost fumbled into lower bracket early doors, playing up against Zane. That went 3-2. And then he went up against Raza in the upper finals, and that was 3-2 to him as well. So he actually made a decent run into the grand finals. But yeah, it seemed like a little bit rocky to begin with. So he was kind of clear cut to win it, considering how strong he looked through groups as well. And of course, previously beating Raza. And then we see that lower bracket final between Raza and Zane. And then Raza just seems to turn around and go, screw you, I'm getting into this final once again.
Yeah.
And he just 3-0s him, goes straight into the grand final. And then, kind of the rest is a bit of history because...
I watched the grand final backstage.
It was really weird.
Yeah.
It was good, but...
It was actually interesting. Like, I've said this before, and I think I've said it pretty much every time you've done, like, Phoenix Show and every time you've done kind of Roundup stuff for the esports over the weekend. Me and your FPS guys, like... point and click, that's kind of what we do.
We have small brains when it comes down to esports, honestly. Like,
click heads, that's about it. That's all I really know.
Find us ahead, we can do that. Do we need to think about 4 things at once and micromanage like 20 different units at once? It's not happening.
Exactly. I'm a fan of like games like Company of Heroes, for example, Dawn of War, stuff like that. Yes, I can play that. But when I look at StarCraft and then I look at the level of players that they are, I realise that I'm playing like, Simpsons Hit and Run in comparison to what they're playing. You know what I mean? Like,
are we having no slander for Simpsons Hit and Run?
Fair.
To be fair, I think probably the easiest way to explain it to people who haven't seen it before, of course, you kind of need to have a base understanding of what an RTS is, right? Which is real-time strategy game. And it's kind of around the concept of you are a god and you control just units inside of a 1v1 battle arena, essentially, that you have to build and maintain and build up an economy. And it's quite interesting. The actual combat reminds me a bit, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's a bit more like rock, paper, scissors. This beats that beats this beats that. This is a cool tactic to use to be able to beat all of that. So yeah, it's really interesting. There's some great mentality behind it.
One of our videographer or video editors could explain it to be a bit clearer yesterday. He was like, heavies are really good at taking out infantry. Infantry are very good at taking out air units. Air units are very good at taking out heavies. And like, there's a counter
it's that rock paper.
everything.
It's like meta triangle, isn't it? Really, isn't it? It's the easiest way to explain it from another game perspective. But yeah, of course, we talked about Raza beating Zane inside of that lower bracket final, and of course, then we got that rematch. We got Raza versus Figaro, which is actually the 3rd time they would have faced throughout the entire event.
Yes.
They faced each other inside of groups, and then they faced each other in that upper final as well, where Figaro was able to not easily take down Raza. It was a 3-2 still, but of course, a 3-2 is pretty damning. You still lost. So due to that, coming through from the upper bracket, Figaro came in with a 1 map advantage. So in a best of 7, he would have only needed to win, 3 maps actually played. Yep. He won 1. So even with that 1 map advantage, and he had beaten Raza every single time they played throughout this event, Raza just came out the gates absolutely storming, and he was able to win the entire event. So congratulations to him.
Exactly. I was listening to the commentators running the game yesterday, and hearing them kind of explain stuff. To some of us who were in chat,
it is another world, isn't it?
Not the cleverest when it comes to StarCraft, and they were just saying that Raza was just very much quicker at getting his units upgraded as quick as possible, putting them into fights that they knew that he knew that they could win. There was a good kind of momentum behind him. He dropped that. I think he dropped the first map out of the series in the grand final, and then reverse sweeped it all the way back. So. Yeah, it was interesting to watch, at least anyway, from a complete and utter novice perspective, from my side at least.
Well, that was the one thing that I really liked when I did the stage agent last time, was everyone just seemed to be really into it. And like, if you watch it, like, you begin picking up these little things. It's not as simple as to watch as like a Rocket League or like a Counter-Strike, where there's quite a simple objective. I suppose if you think about it, the simple objective is kill your opponent. Yeah. But there's so many complex ways of reaching that point, right? So, but no, I mean, StarCraft, of course, it's been around for bloody God knows how long at this point. It's got 15 years or something. Like, it's been around for ages. I still remember playing it when I was in like year 7. My friend was like, yo, you need to check out StarCraft. I was like, I'll check out StarCraft. What the bloody hell is StarCraft? And I'm still asking this question now at the age of 25, being like, what the bloody hell is StarCraft? But it's fun. No, it's good. And I'm glad to see there's still a dedicated kind of scene around the UK for it. Just a little bit of history on Raza as well, if you're wondering. So he has, I think, been in the grand finals for every at least in recent memory, for every actual at-LAN event. Obviously, 29, EPIC39 was the last one we had before the big C.
Before the thing
happening. And then last event, he was in the finals against Risky. And then, 24, he was in the finals, and he beat T-Ball in the grand final. Was at last EPIC 35.
Yeah.
So yeah, he this is now his third win and his second on the trot. So yeah, keep your eyes out if you're looking for someone to kind of root for around StarCraft, I'd say.
Definitely.
I think that brings us nicely onto Valorant.
It does, more or less. Do you think we should probably have a look at Friday's highlights?
Yeah, by all means. Yeah, I suppose we're one game down. We're one day down if we talk about Friday. Well. So let's let's pass it over to that. A brief highlight video of some of the best esports moments from Friday.
Huge advantage for the CTs here, and Fraser, he's playing on Ninja. What an incredible play from the man. But has Noodle. Great entry onto the knock box there as Mazza. Oh my goodness! My goodness, that is fast reaction time from the AWPer. But Jack B finds two of his own. Looking back towards the site, he knows that one more's dropped down. It's a free kill for him onto Dexter. Oh, Jack B, you disgusting man.
Molten is aware of this though. He does micro some units back into the natural.
Nice pre-split.
Some more disruptables going in. They completely whiff. Not anything really hit there at all.
Kill the disruptor before they pop off. The Vikings kill the one Colossus.
This push could win.
Maybe this is the power of F2. He takes a perfect timing where he actually has a 2 upgrade advantage, and I think that was the perfect time for him. Really nice game sense there from Frogs.
The army supply looks good, but it's the defender's advantage that makes such a big difference here. A lot of those roaches injured on both sides as well.
No, the battery overcharge keeps the Colossus alive.
Has to back off for now, I think.
He flicks forward, but I don't think that was a good idea.
That's a bad thing for the Colossi is dead as well.
The Vikings land. Disruptor shot. Oh!
The Mythical with a decent kill alongside NK and Morg, who still hold the line. Cool Kid, last player standing, gets a double, needs to land the triple on the spike, will tap it once and continue playing Ring of Rosie slowly but surely into the right entrance. Doing well to catch Pegasus at least. Unable to quite catch Rex, no scoping his way to victory, actually lands the kill in the end. Oh my god! 3, 4, perhaps he sees where Lou is. The gun barrel's painted! Oh my god! He's got no time!
Not dropped. Pika edges the corner. Oh my god, Pika! Pika who? Pika you, as he's gonna find 3.
Well, there you go.
There we go.
Friday's highlight video.
John going mad at the end there for some Valorant, which is great. If you are wondering why we aren't matching that energy right now, we had an amazing kind of basically a summer party last night. Didn't
Yes, we did.
And we're all a little bit soft. We're all a little bit soft-shelled.
We're trying to keep the volume down a
We
little
are.
bit.
We are. The CS players don't seem to give a care, to be fair, because they've been screaming their heads off since 9
20 minutes ago, there was a loud eruption from the CS room, and it was just.
I'll have to double check to see if there's anything actually that's finished, because we'll get on CS. In a few
we'll
minutes,
go on to CS.
Let's touch on to Valorant.
Weirdly enough, the video kind of ends on Valorant, which takes us into our next conversation.
It's almost like you've done this before.
I may or may not have had a hand in creating some of these videos.
See, that's big brain. That's
big brain moments.
What can you give us some Valorant? You stepped into some new shoes for this Valorant, didn't you? You ended up taking over for some observing for was it a game or two?
So Salty J's been here for like the majority of the weekend doing observing. Yes, they needed to dip away, so I was sat in the creative team area just doing a few bits and pieces, and I was tapped on the shoulder. Any chance you could have a quick look at this for me? I was like, yeah, I'll volunteer for anything. I was sat there and tapped on the shoulder. Do you mind giving me a hand with something? I was like, yeah, no worries. I'm happy to volunteer for anything. And then I was plopped down into a seat in front of a keyboard with Valorant playing, and I'm like, right, okay, I've watched maybe 2 games of Valorant, 3 games of Valorant, because I'm like CS, do you know what I mean? That's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, shooter is shooter. We can. Please don't flame me on Twitter for that.
No,
I'm very much a CS fanboy. I'll die on that hill. But I mean, Valorant's a game. It exists. It's a thing. No, obviously it seems fun. Not for me personally, but the guys downstairs have been having so much fun with the event all the entire weekend.
Well, as it turns out, our grand finalists are playing at 12 o'clock.
Yeah,
right?
they are.
Gladius versus Rick Static. I actually observed the game that Rick Static knocked Gladius down into the lower brackets, and then they like kind of just
they kind of
run
sweep from there,
rampant
right?
through the lower brackets to get themselves back up
Just
into the
get the
grand
opportunity,
finals.
right? I think that's always the benefit. Like we see this in so many events now, is that upper bracket semi-final game, the upper bracket final game, historically is just the grand final rematch. It's like it's usually what's played, especially these kind of like tier 2 and grassroots level events, where the teams who have been knocked into the lower bracket aren't there because of like a bad match, or might be there purely because they just weren't ready for some of the competition which has come to the event. However, though, there's been some fantastic runs through that lower bracket. So just kind of touch on it. Of course, we had the group stages, 18 to 17 teams?
16 teams total.
Close. 16 teams turned up, and not only is this for prize money, but this is also for beacon points. Yeah, it's a beacon event. So the VTT beacon circuit, if you don't know what that is, it basically allows smaller level teams to be able to qualify for official Riot events.
It's your grassroots entry point.
It is.
You know, and
which is great. I love that.
Fantastic. There are many things like it in CS. Like you've got ESEA, for example. That's your kind of grassroots. Get yourself back up. Push yourself up into advanced. Fight for that placement.
I think the one thing I like about this is that it's not just restricted to like an online only season.
Yeah.
Like you have events like EPIC. I think the Guild's got an event next week, right?
Yeah.
To literally have people playing IRL to be able to give them the opportunity to get that LAN experience and then get points for them to be able to play at a higher and higher level and develop.
I feel like it was. I feel like it's been needed because of the thing that happened. You know,
the big C,
and then moving it back into like on-site events, having organisations like that want to have an online event and want to have an actual physical event. And kind of like pushing players to be like, okay, you want points, that's great. You can do online if you want to, but these points are up for grabs. We physically have to go to these venues, and you physically have to play and pay to take part in.
Well, I'm right in saying Valorant released during COVID, right?
Yes.
It was like the start, like 2020. It was like during COVID. So like the fact that released and now they've gone, right, okay, we're getting people out of the house. We're going to try and get them to touch grass as much as possible while still playing Valorant, which is great because, obviously it took a while for CS to be able to get to that point. Obviously, CS was around for donkey's years at this point. And CSGO's 10th birthday next month, which is amazing.
Next month.
21st of August.
That's probably one of the scariest things you've ever said out loud.
It's nuts, isn't it? It's nuts.
10
years of
immediately
CSGO
went grey a little bit.
I can't believe Valorant's been out for 2 years now.
You don't think it.
You don't.
You really don't.
It still thinks it's been like 6-8 months. Yeah. But no, it's been around for a while now, and the guys have, of course, they've been grinding out across the scene. But yeah, it's really great to see some of these teams, some of the names which I recognise from previous events as well, kind of coming together. With
some of the names you recognise from CS as well.
We had a massive exodus.
Still involved with Valorant.
Huge exodus from CS, didn't we? We had Fish123. Fish123 left early doors, and they got picked up by Liquid, and there's been plenty of change in that roster now. Big news from a CS point of view yesterday, I believe it was. Arguably one of the best aimers of all time from a Counter-Strike perspective, who retired when streaming and now come back. Shroud is just joined Sentinels, which is it's crazy to see that so many of these pros from CS, from a high level, from a lower level as well, being able to jump over to this game and kind of be on a level playing field. Because Counter-Strike, of course, it had the precedence. It had the 1.6. You had your source before that, and now there was always that kind of that trajectory from you had to play 1.6 to be good at Go early doors. But for Valorant, it was you played a tactical shooter in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, come play Valorant and just start again.
This is the thing. When my opinion when Valorant first came out was like, a lot of people that jump in ship to go to Valorant because they want to be there for when 1.6 started. You know what I mean? They want that kind of thing.
They want that early
but
doors.
In reality,
I would say first.
Riot and Valorant have done so much for their own esports community in general
they
kind of surpassed what 1.6 would have been in my eyes in some ways.
Obviously, I think one of the main things about that is not to dwell on this. We'll talk about the tournament soon. Don't worry, guys.
We'll get back on subject.
I think the fact was when 1.6 was about. Obviously, we're talking early 2010s, late 2000s. That game and esports just is nowhere near what it is now.
No,
like. First Epic, when was that? 2008, 2009?
I think so,
yeah, that was the thing. So we were just building up as an event, and CS had been around for already. CS as a concept and as an original game had been around for 10 years since that point.
Condition
Valorant, Condition Zero. God, don't remind me of that. Nexon Zombies, my friend. Don't you forget about that one. Yeah, but when Valorant's come out at this perfect time where a lot of people were kind of getting stale of CS, they were like, okay, so something needs to change. And then we hear these murmurs of Project A, and it's like, what the bloody hell is Project A?
Yeah,
Like, what is this? Tactical shooter from Riot? Yes, please. Give me my anime girls. And we get that in Viper, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
And then we get some edgy boys like Omen as well, like mixing in kind of everything. And I just feel like they've done a good job to be able to build up their game in a way that it's kind of focused around those higher level players and also kind of lower level players. It seems a lot more easy to understand if you've never played a tactical shooter before.
Yeah.
Whereas not that CS is elitist, because it's far from it. I mean, bloody hell, we had guys yesterday taking shots halfway through an Instance game, which was amazing. But of course, you do need to put, if you want to do well, you do need to put in I need to do aimbots for 4 hours to be able to build my spray control and to be able to build my crosshair placement. And Valorant obviously has more flexibility with the abilities and stuff like that for you to not have to do that. But that's just my 2 cents anyway.
A friend of mine likened it to a perfect mesh between CS and Overwatch. Where you have abilities
that's fair,
to run with, and you have things that you can
just
like power ups, if you know what I mean. And
give me a idol inside of a mech akin to Diva inside of Valorant, and I'll swap today.
Oh yeah,
I'll swap.
Already done.
Let's
anyway,
talk about the event.
Subject,
let's talk about the event. So
prize pool wise, I mean, obviously we mentioned that there are points up for grabs. 200 points, I think, is the maximum.
200 points for the first place, 100 points for second place. I think all the way down to 8th get points. So 200 beacon points first, 150 for second. 100 for third, 80, 55, 55 for fourth, and 5th to 8th respectively. So a lot of points kind of to play for. And I was having a look at the list on Wikipedia of what that actually means. Like how close is this right now? Like kind of out and ahead of everyone else. You've got AW3 on 400 points. It seems like they've been pretty consistent across the 3 other events which have happened so far. But we've got teams like Rick's GG Static who are in the grand finals today, and they are 5th in this list. If they get the 200 points, that bumps them straight up.
Joint second, more or less? So was that third place?
I think it's third place by 10 points.
By 10 points.
But of course, then you've got the Guild Academy thing next weekend. So there's going to be a lot of messing around in that kind of top, inside of that top group of bracket. A team which jumps out to me on that list as well is the Goose House, of course. Roster changes since the last Epic. If you look purely on a stats perspective, they should have done really well this event. It doesn't look like they did.
No. Got knocked out in lowers?
Huh?
They got knocked out in lowers?
Yeah, they got knocked out in lowers. I don't know. Did they actually start off in uppers at all? No, they no, they did. They did. So they got knocked out of the round of 16 in uppers by Pink Fluffy, and once they got down to, they only won one map inside of lowers, which was a bit of a stomp. That's a 13-6, and then it went to overtime in the lower bracket 2 out of 6 game.
Happens to the best of us. I mean, like I played tournaments before where we've gone in thinking, right, we're gonna win this one. We're gonna get top. You're gonna get like top seed and kind of like progress you into it, and then all of a sudden you're in that position where you lose that first game and you're like, right, okay, let's try to grind through, and you just
there's the meme inside of like I think Prem, the UK Premiership season hosted by ESL. They whoever gets lowest seed in that usually does really well.
Yeah.
And it's like the pressure definitely gets some of those top seeds from time to time, especially if you've not been in that event of that capacity, and you're like, okay, we're coming into this event being the top. People are gunning for us, which puts pressure on you, and of course it kind of puts pressure on other teams to make sure that they're ready for you as well. So maybe there's a little bit more practice done behind the scenes for those teams.
Lower seed as well, you've got that thing of like, we need to prove now.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do from lowers, which is cool. But so of course there was a lot of teams which showed up, some names which you may have heard of: CSGG, Esports as well, Temperate, Legates, who unfortunately got knocked at the same stage as Goose House. And then you have some teams inside the upper bracket who have done fantastically the entire event: Gladys and Rick Static, kind of the two which popped to mind, who had a fantastic upper bracket final game. Rick's did indeed take that one, but Gladys was able to clap back last night. 9:30 was the start of that best of 3, by the way, in the evening, And yeah, they clapped back in a 2-0 against Jokers. So we're going to have another rematch. We're going to have Rick Static versus Gladys in the grand finals at 12.
If anything to go by, I mean, that game starts at 12 o'clock today
midday
for the live stream. So, I mean, from my wealth of knowledge, experience, and everything, observing just the single one game, which was the game they played yesterday, players like Samo, Khan were just popping off constantly.
Well, look at this. This is kind of crazy, actually. So, obviously, if you look at a pure stats perspective, it's a 2-0 Rick Static. Okay, that means that they absolutely dominated their opponents. That first game was an overtime, went to double. So that's is that double or triple? That's double, right? Yes, 16-14. I was trying to work out because I really like the way they do overtime in Valorant.
Yeah.
Because it's tennis, right?
Yeah.
It's advantage. It's advantage game, and then the reset. It's advantage game. You need to get 2 on the trot instead of having to do like an MR3, MR4 situation where you're basically playing you're playing a short match to be able to decide what happens. Which I've said this. I said this yesterday to John, in a sense, Jay as well. Someone host a CS:GO short match tournament. I would 100% get on board with that.
Oh yeah, same.
That'd be amazing.
I think that would be really interesting it'd be interesting to
dynamic.
watch, but it would be very interesting to commentate on because you're gonna have to change your mindset of being like, okay, well, we've got 16 rounds potentially out of this. Yeah, we've got
a lot less to play with.
We've got a lot less to play with. Yeah.
But yeah, let's just touching on this Rick Static versus Gladius game then, and then that second map of Bind, it seemed like it got to Gladius a little bit. Still relatively close, 13-9. But yeah, maybe they've gone back to the drawing board after their victory inside of Lowers as well against Jokers. They're going to be able to clap back in this best of 5, I believe, right?
I think it's best of 5.
Yeah, best of 5. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
So of course they only have 3, 6, 7 maps. So it's going to be the good old standard. I ban this, I ban that. Cool. What order are we playing, lads?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's certainly an interesting one. No, will be exciting to watch, and that's going to be 12 p.m. BST, which is midday UK time, over on the Epic Line 2 channel. So make sure you do go check that out. Before we move on to CS, I believe we have another
video. We have one more video, yes.
I believe we do. I don't know if it's just explicitly esports, but it's just an overall good wrap-up of Saturday. So we'll leave you with that, and when we come back,
I pray that Kurt hasn't messed me around here, and he's done the video that we did together yesterday, because we did a video together.
Yeah.
This land, the reason why you haven't seen me too much with stage content-wise is we working more with the creative guys, and I think this might be our daily wrap-up video where you got me to walk around with the microphone.
Amazing. Well, let's have a look at it.
We don't know. We'll see.
Let's have a look at the Saturday wrap-up.
Let's see what Saturday brings.
Oh. We don't have it.
5 minutes. There you go. We can talk for 5 minutes. So what's up with you, mate?
What's up with me, mate? I'm good. Like I said, a little bit soft here and there. But no, yesterday was good. The entire event's been great as always. Yeah, I mean, it's just been nice to get involved in more stage stuff, to be fair. I've been talking to some of the guys, and they're like, oh, you guys in CS? I'm like, I did one map.
Yeah, literally same. Yes, they did one single map, nothing else.
Tagged in for a map. So yeah, cool, that's fine. That's all I need to do. I want to get more involved with some stage stuff, and obviously I'm here. I'm doing the hosting with lovely Steve. But yeah, it's just different. Being able to actually walk around and not have to do best of 3 starting at 11 p.m. is a nice benefit, I suppose.
It's a strange feeling, isn't it? Because you're like, well,
oh, dude, I was in bed by 11.
Yeah, I've got all this time to mess around with, and I say mess around with to do other work.
Well, that's it. We say mess around. It just involves us not shouting at the top of our lungs for 8 hours on end, which is fine and fun. But
start to find yourself dipping into other areas as well.
For sure. Apparently, me Rocket League yesterday. Rocket League casting with Reeves. Yeah. That was great fun. I will repeat what my tweet said. If you're looking for a Rocket League caster, screw it. Drop me a message. That was amazing.
Just get in touch. Get involved. Have you got much planned for after Epic?
Oh, right now, no. I'm at TwitchCon next weekend with work, which should be fun. When it comes down to from an esports perspective, not really. Just finished up WePlay, the WePlay Academy League, which was great fun. Had the kind of the honour of sharing the desk with Scrawny and Lawless for that as well, which was really cool. We were kind of the late night gang, closing out the evenings with the final best of ones, a couple of best of ones here and there in the night. And no, that was awesome to get to see some up and coming talent across Europe, and obviously we're so used to seeing it in the UK scene, these newer teams. But yeah, seeing that across Europe was just very nice, very wholesome.
Having done a bit more European stuff in the last couple of months compared to like UK-based things. Like the European leagues are just so completely different.
This is what I was talking to Daffod yesterday, the guy who runs UK CS:GO with Neo, and we were having a really good conversation around like how strong some of those EU academy teams are, but it's almost like then barely academy teams at this point. Yes, they're development teams, but if we think of like an academy team, you think of like a grassroots team inside of UK, it's like 5 guys who semi-play together and they want to start taking it professionally and they go through open and that sort of stuff. Whereas these academy teams are more like dedicated tier 2 teams who are already finding success that are now getting funding behind them. And I feel like that's great, and it's great to show that, but it's hard to be able to compare it. I'm really interested to see what grassroots level across Europe looks like, because I don't feel like these academy teams are truly grassroots.
No, because it feels like when we've watched a few of their games, like the Finnish leagues, for example, and it feels like they're very much thrown at the deep end, and that is their grassroots. You know, go up and play against these tier 1 teams, tier 2 teams, and prove yourself. And if you prove yourself, we'll give you cash to work with. Anyway, that's enough waffling from both me and Cody. Let's have a look at that video. Let's see what we've got coming up.
Not be able to get a single kill though, and the pistol round looks like it is bombarding the way of Aviator, unless Moshi is trying to save about it. Oh, Moshi! No, on for the ace as well. What? Moshi, what was that? How? 1 versus 5 on the A-bomb site. This too late. Emmy could even knife him here.
Can't be doing that.
Ooh, Emmy. Okay, I'm not No, Emmy. Oh, he's done a bit of trolling there. Jack definitely just... Wait, Jack is on the bomb. He's actually really going for this. No way he gets another kill here. Wait, surely not. There's actually no one nearby. Even if he's actually going to win that. No way, Jack B. How are you about to do that? The smoke goes under, and he gets the views. Kids, they win the round off the back of a mistake from Emmy. That is actually just silly. That is silly. How have Temperate lost that? That is...
They will be running in through middle now, though. This is where Mazza needs to shine. They're pushing Catwalk, and the smoke comes down, but they don't clear. But Mazza, that's a huge miss, but he does come back for another. Oh, Mazza! That is absolutely beautiful from the man. Well, that just about rectifies the initial mistake. That was just...
To send it into the third base. He's got loads of lings. Different from last series, though, he doesn't have a bunch of mutas as well as that. He's not going to be able to pull him out of position. Raza, as long as he gets any inkling that this is coming, should be able to spread this out.
He holds his base. He's got a nice little wall going. Lots of supply depots going up, and the attack is coming in now here from Figaro.
Nice split so far from Figaro, but there's so many Banelings coming in. Raza at the top of the ramp. There is going to be some Banelings going in at the natural, but Raza, as long as he splits, he should be all right. The Banelings come in. There's so many Banelings going for these Marines. They smell blood, and a couple of them will connect, but in the end, is it good enough? Raza maintains a good, healthy Marine count. 45, Army to only 28, and Raza, I think, has repelled this attack.
Raza's held this attack, and he's still building SCVs in the background. Figaro, just lings.
Yeah.
That's it, just lings now.
Continue.
It goes off in just a minute. The Banelings and the Ultras are moving across to the right-hand side of the map.
But Raza has managed to scrape together enough money to build an actual army now. So as long as he manages to trade effectively at this point, he should be in decent shape. But Ultra's coming from multiple directions. Ghost trying desperately to snipe, but it is going to be a GG.
Too much. Zerg was in Raza's face.
Realizing this is happening for the time being.
And that's the thing that Figaro hasn't been able to do every time Raza pushes. When Raza pushes, Figaro is all in on defending, but this time Raza's been able to get some counter damage, so it's not so bad that he's losing SCVs on his end of the map.
And it is going to be just a base race type style from Figaro, right? He knows he can't fight the army straight up, so he's just going to send in. Every time Raza moves out, he's going to attack. But Raza still has a decent amount of stuff left at home, and it is going to be a pretty big army supply for Raza at this point. GG.
And that's it. He has to tap out. Well,
there you go.
That was some clips from StarCraft.
There was a lot of clips from StarCraft.
That was, to be fair, that's awesome. We were talking about StarCraft earlier on, and of course you can kind of just see there's so much stuff that happens.
Lots of stuff.
It's just manic. But, yeah, of course I mentioned that Raza was able to win that one after kind of reverse sweeping it. Great from him.
Yeah, that was clips from the grand final as well from last night, which was great to see.
Speaking about grand finals, my friend, we've talked about Valorant. We've talked about the lovely StarCraft. We have not talked about CS too much.
We have not. No.
And what we were going to talk about this morning was kind of this ultimate lower bracket final which was going on between Black Cat and Ava, which of course would have been deciding that the next opponent inside of the grand final, going up against Emp Kids. That's done. It's over.
Finished, yeah.
We've done a series in an hour and a half, it would seem. Blackhand, they looked good coming into this tournament. Then they got slapped on their first game and lost. Everyone was like, wait, hold on, what's going on? Like, this isn't how this works.
I saw the scoreline from the Bravo game, but was it Bravo or something like that? There was like a...
I'm unsure.
I can't remember the full name of the team, but they lost in one of the opening games to just like a team of mix, I think it was. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because sometimes that can just happen, and then you have them being able to kind of reinvigorate themselves and bring it back. And well, clearly now that they're in that upper bracket, well, they're in that grand final after I believe Blackhand got knocked last night, right? Oh no, they just started in the lower finals.
Yeah.
And then after beating Tempera, able to beat Ava, and now they're going up against Emps Kids, Emps Kids. We don't see Emp much now. Emperor's just kind of. It's just kind of floating
you
about.
Don't see much. Thursday, when I was getting ready to do Phoenix show, I went in to go see Tweg because he was coming on to Phoenix, and he was sat with Emperor and we were chatting.
Yeah, no, I mean,
lads, you know?
I caught up with him yesterday, and he was like, I might just come back to Prem. I might just come back to Prem and clap some kids and just win. I was like, fair enough.
It's just so weird to say this out loud because of how many lands we've done since, but it's really weird having casted games with players that you've never actually seen in person.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And then you come to LAN and you're like, when I walked over, you went, "You do know who I am, do you?" I was like, "Emperor."
Well, that's the
and
thing,
he was like,
right? Because I suppose the benefit for players for us, or against us, is the fact that we're on screen talent. They're going to be seeing our face all the time.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to the players, we usually only see them if they're doing an interview or something.
Post-match,
and it's kind of rare that the UK scene kind of delves that deep. I think the only times we've done that was, I remember the Rix GG tournament that we did. We're doing that UK CS Cash Cup as well, which was same sort of thing. And we do it in Prem. And we don't really touch on it in Epic, mainly because everyone just wants to smash out games, keep going. But yeah, it's fantastic to see a lot of people, not only a lot of players, but also a lot of talent as well, because I think we realised the other day, we were chilling out with the MSI booth over with JD and the guys from over there, that we had, I think, 75% of UK CS talent here at the event.
Yeah.
We had Dweg, we had Jay, you got yourself, you got me, you had Freddie.
I'm flattered that you consider me part of the UK CS
You're part of the UK CS talent. Yumi showed up on Friday as well.
I didn't get a chance to see him.
I haven't seen Yumi in a while. I think, the last time I saw him must have been pre-COVID. And I walked into the CS casting room on Friday because I arrived a little bit late. I walked in, I see the guys just casting away. I look over, I'm like, what are you doing here? Hold on, what's going on? What's going on? And we had a couple of guys playing as well, right? Retro was here just for a couple of days. Neokai was playing. Louis here playing as well. Louis and Retro look like the same person.
They are.
They are literally the same person.
I have never seen them both in the same room together at the same time, so I'm assuming they are the same person.
Until now. Sorry, yes. It's like, hold up, the rumour has been dissolved.
My conspiracy theory over UKCS talent has been squashed.
We're not all the same person, believe it or not. Let's talk about this grand final a bit.
Yes.
So, Emps Kids have had an absolute stellar run. Just to touch on some of the players from this team, you've almost certainly heard of them if you follow the UK CS scene at all. Cypher, Jack B, Moshi, Joshua, and good old Rory Cripes. I was talking to Emp yesterday, and Emp said the one reason he doesn't want to win the grand final is because he doesn't want Cripes to be able to join the TeamSpeak and say, back-to-back Epic LAN winner here. Because he right now, apparently, he's sliding into the TeamSpeak saying, LAN winner Cripes here, how you doing? And it's like, oh my God, that would get amazingly tilting, but it would be even better to say back-to-back Epic LAN winner just sliding into your TeamSpeak server. So yeah, when your coach doesn't want you to win purely out of spite, I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, definitely. It means you're notorious.
Yes,
you've got that notoriety. We watched the video a few moments ago. The game Emps Kids versus Temperate. That was my one map that I've done for the entire weekend.
Oh really?
That Jack B moment with the smoke. The fact that we genuinely thought that he's gonna get knifed and nothing happened with it. Then he immediately swings back down into lower B, takes that player out. The smoke grenade just
gets 2 kills,
flies off the map.
I mean, come on, smoke and water never mixes well. Not a lot of people know there's water on that map.
No, well, up until the map change, you couldn't actually
get it. You could see it.
You could see it, but you couldn't actually get to it. I say get to it, but you couldn't have utility get to it, at least anyway.
One day they'll open it up and we'll be able to go swimming. One day.
Not that this is definitely like 4
Source
a.m. 4 a.m. YouTube content. When you can't sleep and you want white noise in the background. I watched a video of a guy explaining that you can, in theory, swim in a nuclear reactor.
What?
Yeah, he's like it wouldn't affect you. You'd probably get like a little bit of radiation, but it wouldn't be like death levels.
You and I watch very different things when we try and sleep. You're watching that. I'm listening
videos.
to food. To be fair, food
like,
videos are good.
Overseas food videos, street markets, that kind of thing. Mate,
oh, don't. Honestly, you're going to set me off.
Yeah.
Let's jump back to CS. So
CS,
Blackhand, of course, they haven't had... they've had a pretty decent run. They haven't had the run they were expecting. I think they fully expected to be all the way through the upper brackets, and they're coming into the grand finals as the upper bracket kind of qualification point. Instead, they come through with the lowers, but still in a decent spot. And this team is definitely something to rival. Zulu, Timo, Fraser, Dexter, yours there as well. Timo, someone who I've talked to a couple of times at previous events and kind of interviews. Probably the one thing that sticks out in my mind, back when he was playing with Coalesce, I believe, I think it was Artist, said, hey, stand in that Molotov for me. So go wide swing, jump in the Molotov and just stay there. And he said, okay. And Artist never told him to leave it.
No.
So he got a kill. He did exactly what he was told. And he stayed and died. And, well, it's dedication to the cause.
Yeah.
It shows that he can listen. He has true commitment and understanding of his kind of coach, his TL, which is cool.
Have you actually seen Em's Kids' full...
Give me Em's Kids' full name, because something tells me it's not Em's Kids.
It's Em's Kids, brackets, Yaroslav brackets, Shostair equals kicked brackets.
Isn't Yaroslav ISK? Yaroslav's ISK.
Yeah.
So, Em's Kids, Yaroslav, Yostair equals kicked. There we go.
Yeah.
So, what I'm hearing is this a grudge match? Because Yostair's on Blackhand right now. So this is going to be quite an interesting one. I don't think this one starts for a while now.
No,
right?
1 o'clock it starts.
1 p.m.
What we would have done is potentially looked at trying to maybe see what the CS was doing, but it looks like Blackhand just went in, did the sweep, basically got the
clapping some guys, just getting it sorted.
Clapped AVG, and now we're in this position where you and I are just the beautiful AVA. Sorry. AVG.
AVG.
I got antivirus
for
in
a
the brain
split
here.
second. I thought you said Avicii, and I was like,
no,
he is not playing. He is. He may rest in peace, but he is not playing.
I've been absolutely battered this weekend by content and being bullied by them. So
there we go. Oh, so you're blaming the content team? Fair enough.
Basically. AVA dropped out of that one. Otherwise, we'd probably just checked in to see what was going on. But it looks like they're on a break now for the next 2-ish hours.
I think it is about that. Which is a good time. Actually, gives them a little bit of time to repair. I mean, just want to get some drinks down, and by all means do it
exactly.
as well.
Like get out with the. Well, I know. You and I have had it pretty lucky where we're sitting for this LAN event where it's been quite cool. But I went into the CS room yesterday to do some video stuff, and while we were in there, I just stood in front of the Teletubby machines.
It's a sauna.
Have you seen the Teletubby machines?
The wiggly arms. It looked like Nunu.
Looked like Nunu. I just stood in front of that basically for a couple of minutes and just thought, right, I'm not going to die now. Everything's fine. So hopefully the CS guys will go take a break outside and
then come back and start screaming the roof off of this place like they 100%. Usually do. That'd be fantastic to watch.
This is the best part of LAN now. We've got 2 hours of complete silence.
Someone will find a way. It's just you. It's just you and me, just like absolutely deafening people now, which is we can sincerely apologise, but we'll leave you alone in a couple moments' time. Just to give a final rundown, prize pool for the CS event, you got 1.7k dollars, of course, for first place, 900 for second, 392 for AVA in third, and Temperate 211 in fourth. Fantastic event, and I'm really looking forward to that grand finals kicking off at 2 p.m. So make sure you tune into that. I believe at directly over at EPIC 1. Yeah, that's on the kind of like semi-mainstream. So yeah. Well, that's it from us.
It is indeed.
Guys, we hope you have enjoyed Epic. We've got two last events, I suppose, when it comes down to esports. You've got that grand final of Valorant kicking off at 12, and then you have the CS kicking off. Oh, that looks like they moved it. That's at 1. So there you go. Double monitor it. Why not? Watch two things at once. Get to hear the dulcet tones of our lovely casters for both Valorant and CS. But for the time being, mine has been Cody. This has been Steve. Have a lovely rest of your evening and day, and we will catch you at next Epic.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
If you seek greatness, let nothing stand between you and the win. Zero distraction. Zero doubt. Zero opposition. If you seek greatness, if you seek greatness, let nothing stand between you and the win. Zero distraction. Zero doubt. Zero opposition.